Hi students, so in this lesson, lesson 47, we're going to be working on rate unit conversions and fractional exponents. For the first part, rate unit conversions, unlike one of the previous videos that we did, rate unit conversions have two parts. Okay, so for example, inches per second. They contain a distance unit and a time unit. Okay, notice this one too, a distance unit and a time unit, miles and hours. So what we're wanting to do then is convert, and if we do that to convert the rate units, we have to use distance unit multipliers to convert the distance, and we have to use time unit multipliers to convert the time units. So you're going to have a few things going at once here. So we begin by this example, 42 inches per second, and they want to know, okay, if we're going to convert it to miles per hour, how do we do that? So first, we want to, let's say, convert the inches to miles. So if we're going to do that, we'll write 42 inches per second. So let's say we want to again convert the inches to miles. We have to think, okay, let's go from inches to feet first. Okay, so we have to think, all right, what do we know about how many inches are in a foot? So we know that there are 12 inches in a foot. Now, then we have to figure out, do we want to put the inches on the top or the bottom? In order to cancel out the inches that are on the top, we're going to have to write inches on the bottom. So when we write our fact that there are 12 inches in a foot, you have it two ways. You could say 1 foot equals 12 inches, or you could say 12 inches equal 1 foot. And again, because we want the inches to cancel, we want to write the inches part on the bottom. So we're going to say 12 inches in 1 foot. We're going to multiply by that. And that way, the inches end up canceling. And we're on our way to converting it to miles. Okay, so then after that, in order to get to miles, we have to think, okay, what fact do we know about feet in a mile? Well, there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So again, we have to think, okay, am I going to do 5,280 feet on the top? If I do feet on the top, notice there's already feet on the top, so they wouldn't cancel. So again, we need to write feet on the bottom. So we're going to put 5,280 feet on the bottom. 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And that way, miles are on top. And that's what we want. We want miles to be on top at the end. So again, we're going to be multiplying by those two unit multipliers so that we end up canceling inches and canceling feet. And then we converted it to miles. So are we done? No, because we still haven't converted it all the way. We wanted to go from seconds to hours. So we still need to do that part. So now we have to use time multipliers, okay? Time unit multipliers. So let's think, okay, if we want to go from seconds to hours, we have to think, okay, there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. And again, try to think, do we want seconds to be on top or bottom? Well, we want seconds to be on top because seconds are on the bottom right now. So we're going to say, okay, there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. Okay? And that way, our seconds cancel, and we have minutes on the bottom. We're still not done. We got to go to hours. So we have to think, okay, try to think about there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So we're going to put the 60 on the top. And again, it's because we want the minutes to cancel. So if it's on the bottom, we put it on the top. Okay, so 60 minutes in 1 hour. And now we are finally done. The only thing that we're going to have to do is figure out the answer to this, right? And so when you figure out the answer, you multiply all the numbers on the top by each other. So this is going to be 42 times 1 times 1, we don't need to write the 1 though, times 60 times 60. And so those are the three numbers that are going to be on the top. And again, we have miles on the top now, right? That's the only unit left on the top that's not crossed out. And then on the bottom, we have 12, 5,280, and 1 and 1. So we're just going to say 12 times 5,280. And again, hours go on the bottom. All right, and so what they decided to do in the book anyway is just leave it like this. So you can go ahead and leave it. You can also, if you just want to know what it would be, you could multiply it out. Remember, multiply the top. So top times top, bottom times bottom. So if I were to do 42 times 60 times 60, you do that, I get that big number. And then I'm going to divide that, and I'm going to put in parentheses 12 times 5,280. So I'm showing that I'm multiplying the part on the bottom in the parentheses first, and then I'll take this number and divide. And I get about 2.39. So it's about 2.39 miles per hour. But again, you can leave it like this for your work. So let's do another example. So the next example, it says, use unit multipliers to convert 480 miles per hour to feet per second. So it looks like we're going backwards on this one. Close. It's just that this was inches per second to miles per hour. This is miles per hour to feet per second. So maybe one less unit multiplier. Okay, so let's start. So we say 480 miles per hour. And now let's just go ahead and convert miles to feet to start. So in order to do that, again, we have to figure out, okay, we want miles to cancel because we're trying to go from miles to feet. So we need to figure out, okay, in 1 mile, so we're going to multiply by mile on the bottom. Say 1 mile is equal to, remember that fact, it was 5,280 feet. So this is nice because we only need 1 unit multiplier on this example. Okay, miles end up canceling, and then we end up with feet, and that's what we want. Now we have to go from hours to seconds, right? So if we want to think about hours, we want to think, okay, hours, we first have to go to minutes, then we can go to seconds. So 1 hour, you're going to want that on the top. So 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So notice I had to put the hour on the top, and that way the hours cancel. And then I'm left with minutes on the bottom, but I'm not done because I still need to go to seconds. So now I have to think, okay, let's multiply by 1 minute. So let's put minute on top. Again, that's because we want these two to cancel. So 1 minute is 60 seconds. And so now I've canceled everything I want to cancel. I have feet on the top that are left, seconds on the bottom that are left. So I'm good because that's what I wanted, feet per second. And now all I have to do is write out the numbers that are on the top being multiplied by each other. So 480 and 5,280. On the bottom, we just have 1 and then 60 and 60. So we'll just say 60 and 60. And then again, we have feet per second. And again, you can multiply that out on the top, multiply on the bottom, and then divide if you want to figure out what that is. Okay, one more, just because we're going to work with some slightly different units. And that's going to be, we're going to be working with yards. So I just wanted to go over that. So convert 15 inches per second So that's kind of similar to what we were doing. Convert that to yards per hour. Okay, so if you want to pause the video, you can, and see if you can convert it on your own. I'm going to go ahead, though, and do this now. So 15 inches per second. And let's go inches to yards first. So inches to yards, that's a little bit different. So we want to go this time 12 inches, put it on the bottom, 12 inches in a foot. We do have a fact that tells us that there are 3 feet in a yard, so that's why we're going from inches to feet first, and then we'll go from feet to yards. So inches cancel in this case. And then from here, we want to use our fact that there are 3 feet in a yard to get to yards. So feet need to go on the bottom because I want them to cancel. So I have to say 3 feet on the bottom, 1 yard on the top. And that's what we want. We wanted yards on top. And now we go to seconds and convert it to hours. So there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So I'm going to put the seconds on top so that those seconds cancel, those units cancel. So 60 seconds in 1 minute. And then I'm going to go to hours. So I put 60 minutes on top to cancel the minutes. And I can do 1 hour on the bottom. And now I have everything I need. Let's write out the answer here. 15 times 60 times 60. And then that's, again, yards on the top. And then on the bottom, we have 12 times 3. And then that's hours. So I hope you understand that. Now, let's go ahead and switch over to fractional exponents again. Now we did some of these before on a previous video, but what they're going to do is they're going to tell us to simplify these again. But this time, they're going to want to put them all in terms of the same base. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So here we have 27 root 3 underneath a cubed root. This is a trick problem that can't be simplified until that's recognized. So the trick is to write 27 as 3 to the 3rd power. So all the bases are going to be the same. And so what we're going to do, we're going to do that. We're also going to, so I'll start by doing that. We're also going to write these with fractional exponents again, just like we did on the last video. 27 is 3 to the 3rd power. 3 times 3 is 9. And then 9 times 3 is 27. So we have 3 to the 3rd there. And then we have the root 3 underneath it. So I started by just writing the 27 as 3 to the 3rd. Now we want to replace the radicals with the parentheses, brackets, and fractional exponents. So here we go. So recall when we did this before, we want to, they put brackets around here, around the whole thing. They said, okay, this is 3 to the 3rd times, and then this is 3, and then to the 1/2, because our square root is a 1/2 as an exponent, okay? Then we close it out and we say, okay, all of that is raised to a cubed root is 1/3. So now we've written them like that. We've written them just in terms of, fractional exponents here. And now we can use the Power Theorem and then finish by adding the exponents. So remember, power to a power, we multiply the exponents. So this is 3 times 1/3, which is 3/3. And 3/3 is equal to 1, so we have 3 to the 1st power. Then this one is 3 to the 1/2 raised to the 1/3. Again, power to a power, multiply. So 1/2 times 1/3, that's 1 times 1 on top, 2 times 3 on the bottom. So that's 3 to the 1/6. Okay? So there's that. And then the very final thing here that you're going to do is you're going to use the fact that if you're multiplying two powers, you add the exponents. So that's what we're going to do. So what is 3 to the first power times 3 to the 1/6? If you were to add those, what's 1 plus 1/6? Okay, so if you think about 1, you can rewrite this as 6/6. 6/6 is equal to 1 whole. So that's 3 to the 6/6 times 3 to the 1/6. And then finally, the last thing I'm going to do again is add these. So this is going to be 3 to the 7/6. And that's the final answer for that one, 3 to the 7/6. Let's try another one. And hopefully I won't run off the page again. So example 5. So this one is simplify. And this time it's a little different. It says 6th root. And then we have 4 root 2. So a little bit different. And this is our last example. So again, what you want to do is have all the same base. So right now I have a 2 as a base here. That's a 2. And so I'm going to rewrite 4 as 2 squared. So that's what I'm going to start by doing. So we're going to do the 6th root. We're going to say 2 squared, and then we have the root 2. Okay. Then we're going to replace all of our radicals and things with brackets and fractional exponents. So we're going to do a bracket there. We're going to say this is 2 squared times 2. Again, square root means to the 1/2. And all of that is being 6th rooted. So we're going to say this is 1/6 on the outside. And then the last step, just like we did before, we're going to think, okay, power to a power, multiply. So this is 2 to the 2 times 1/6. That's 2/6. And that simplifies. 2/6 simplifies to 1/3. And then after that, we can do 2 times 1/2 raised to the 1/6. That would be 1/2 times 1/6. So that's going to be 2 to the 1/12. And then the final thing, let's get a common denominator because we have to add the exponents. So this right here, if you were to change that to 12ths, because that's going to be our common denominator, you'd have to multiply the top and bottom of this by 4. That would make that 4/12. So you would have 2 to the 4/12 times 2 to the 1/12. And then if you were to add those fractions together, you get 2 to the 5/12. And that is all.